Day 719 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 2452, words within 2 edits of dictionary. The difficulty level is medium, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. You are given 2 string arrays, queries, and dictionary. All words in each array comprise of lowercase English letters and have the same length. In one edit, you can take a word from queries and change any letter in it to any other letter. Find all words from queries that after a maximum of 2 edits equal some word from dictionary. Return a list of all words from queries that match with some word from dictionary after a maximum of 2 edits. Return the words in the same order they appear in queries. All right, y'all, so that may seem a little bit confusing at first. So let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have our input queries equals an array of strings, word, note, ants, and wood. Dictionary is also an array of strings, wood, joke, and moat. The output is word, note, and wood. The explanation says, so let's break this down first. We want to see how many words from queries can we turn into a word from a dictionary, right? So in this case, these are the 3 after changing 2 or less letters in the queries word. So let's go through the explanation so I can show you what I mean by that. So we have 2 edits per word. So first explanation, we're going to change the R in word to O, and that allows it to equal the dictionary word would. So let me just copy and paste this over here. Boom. So if we change this R to an O, that becomes wood, which is in the dictionary. So that's a good change. That's a good edit. Then it says we could change the N to a J and the T to a K and note, and then that changes it to joke. So note right here, we could change this. Remember, we get 2 edits, so we could change this. That's one edit. Then we could change this to K. That's another edit. That's our 2 edits right there, and now we have joke. Boom. And then it says it would take more than 2 edits for ants to equal a word in the dictionary. So this would take more than 2 edits. So that's no good. Boom. And then it says wood can remain unchanged, 0 edits, and match the corresponding dictionary word. Thus we return an array of strings, word, note, and wood. So wood is already in the dictionary, so we don't have to change anything, but we can include it in our output. And after we do all of those edits, this is what we are left with: wood, joke, wood. And sorry, y'all, this should be word though, because that's the original. And this should be note, sorry, y'all, because those are the original words from queries that we were able to change them into. That was just after the change what they would look like. So these word, note, and wood are the words that we would be able to change into these words by only making 2 edits. Boom. So just in case that didn't make sense, let's take a look at example 2. So in example 2, our input queries equals an array of strings, yes, and dictionary is also an array of strings, not. The output is a blank array. It says after applying any 2 edits to yes, we cannot make it equal to not. Thus, we return an empty array. So in this case, we have queries. We only have 1 word, yes. It's impossible to turn yes into not with only 2 edits, right? Because there's 3 letters in this word, and none of these letters appear in not. So we would have to change all 3 letters. Since we can't change all 3 letters, we just return a blank array because it's impossible to change this word into this word with only 2 edits. Boom, y'all. So I hope that makes sense to y'all. And now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not that difficult at all. Now, first, we need to create our result array to store the queries that satisfy the condition, or i.e. our output. So we'll declare a variable called result. We'll say colon. That's going to be an array of strings and we'll set that equal to in a blank array to start. Boom. Now we're going to iterate through each query word by saying for query in queries. Then we're going to open up the brackets and we're going to convert the query string to a UTF-8 C-style array, then drop the last null terminators by saying let q equal query dot UTF-8 CS string or C string dot drop last, put the parentheses. Boom. Now we're going to compare this query against every word in the dictionary. So we'll say for word in dictionary. We're going to open up the brackets and we're going to convert the dictionary word to a UTF-8 array like we did earlier. So we're going to say let W equal word dot UTF-8 C string dot drop last, put the parentheses. Boom. Now we're going to count the number of differing characters. So we'll declare a variable called diff, set that equal to 0. Then we're going to compare the character by saying for I in 0 dot dot less than q dot count. We're going to open up the brackets, and if the characters differ, we're going to increment diff by saying if q square bracket I come outside of that exclamation point equals W square bracket I come outside of that. We're going to open up the brackets and we're going to say diff plus equals 1. Boom. Then we're going to do an early exit if more than 2 differences. So we'll come underneath this and we're going to say if diff is greater than 2, we'll open up the brackets and we'll break. Boom. And if this dictionary word differs by at most 2 characters, we'll come down here and we'll say if diff is less than or equal to 2, we'll open up the brackets and we're going to add query to the result by saying res.append, open up the parentheses and pass in query, y'all. Boom. Then there's no need to check another dictionary word for this query, so we could come underneath this. We could just say break. Boom. Then we're going to return all valid queries by coming right here and we're going to say return res, y'all. Boom. That's all she wrote. Let's give it a run. Make sure it runs properly. Okay, cannot find res. This should be result. Sorry about that. And this should be result as well. Now let's give it a run. Let's see, it's accepted. So let's go ahead and submit it and make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. And look at that, y'all. 3 milliseconds beats 100% of users. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see, y'all. So before we go, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the top part. This is the bottom part. And yeah, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.